Hello and welcome to my yoga flow. My name is Rachel. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll notice that I have hair in this video. It was taken before I shaved it all off. So with that being said, let's get started on our shins. You can have the toes tucked or you can be flat on the tops of the toes. We're just going to get grounded here to start. Just focus on your breath. Coming to a moment of pause before we begin our practice. Me personally, I like to have my gaze softened. Mostly I start my practice for the first 10 minutes, I'll have my eyes closed. It's just a way that I can really get into my own space and out of my thoughts. We're going to begin by rolling into the knuckles, grabbing opposite hand, interlacing the fingers. Grab hold of the tips of your fingertips, push your palm forward. Opposite hand, stretching the palm. Let's repeat that again on both sides. Grab hold of your right elbow with your left hand. Right palm goes between your back. Switch sides. Bring your right hand between your shoulders. Reach for your left hand behind your back, making a diagonal line across the back of your body. Switch sides. Pull into the fingertips. Move forward to your hands and off of the toes. Tap onto the mat with your toes if you feel any tingling from our toe stretch. Side bend over to the right palm to the ground, left hand reaches up and over. Next side, feel the stretch along each opposite side of the body as we move back and forth, rainbowing the arms over our heads. Time to pause before we begin child's pose. Notice how our arms surround us here, enveloping us being more connected to us here. Press your hands on the outside of your knees. We're going to gently lift the knees, tops of the toes press into the mat, coming up and down a couple times. Notice how this makes you feel. If you need to move slower, if you'd like to move faster. Just lifting the hips up and down. Maybe each time you grow a little taller. Always moving with intention as we release ourselves back to the ground and bring our hips up. Exhale, push into the hands and lift the hips. Inhale, lower. Take a moment, exhale, push, inhale, bring your knees back to the ground, finding your own rhythm here. Knowing that you always have the option for child's pose, reaching your hands out, taking a break, resting your head on the mat. Let's all meet on our shins, roll the shoulders back, hands to the thighs. Pausing as we make our transition to our hips, feet forward, knees bent, toes touch the ground, slight lean back of the body, hands are outreached behind us. Open the legs to a butterfly pose, toes are touching the floor, waking up into the hips, the psoas helping us to open and close the legs. Inhaling, open, exhaling, close. Again, at your own pace, as quick or as slow as you'd like, using the core, getting heat at the center of our bodies and our solar plexus. Outreach your right foot, point the toe as straight as your leg can go, shooting energy out the left toes, back to center, right toes stretch, back to center, left toe stretch, and back to center. Heels come in towards the glutes, knees bend, wrap the arms around the shins, palm to touch. That is your first version of Balasana. You can also lift the hips, having our feet mat width distance apart, rocking back and forth. Either is great. Sitting tall for both. Hands to the ground, press the hips up. Lower the hips down, press them back up. Similar to our other shin stretch, moving the hips up and down, engaging into our glutes. Our hands are there for support. Our spine long, straight line from our hips. This is optional, turning onto the toes to bring the knee to the middle of the mat. It gives me a nice little burn, so if you'd like to try it, go ahead, taking your time. I like to move back and forth a couple times. Sit the hips down, boat pose, shins parallel to the ceiling, palms face up. You can also have your feet down to the ground if you don't want to have your shins lifted, or if you'd like your legs straight, you can try that as well. Let's move back and forth here, feet to ground, shins parallel, then straight, feet to the ground, shins parallel, legs straight. If you want to hold any of these three positions, you can. Balance challenge, you can reach your left hand to the outside of your right foot, reaching the right arm back for a twist. Back to center, open to the left, right hand to the outside of the left foot, back to center. Hold in your Navasana, option to grab onto the toes, open the legs, hip opening, release the legs to the ground to a straddle. Pause here, hands to the mat, spine tall, gaze soft, begin with some neck rolls. Reach up and over with the left hand to the right foot. Right hand sits on the inside of the right foot. Come up to center, over to the left, right hand reaches for the left toes. They don't have to reach. Another side body stretch. Back to center. Let's go again. Over to the right. Back to center. Over to the left. Your legs can be as far apart as is comfortable for you. Let's come up to a ball, shins into the chest. Reach your left leg forward. Right knee is bent. Roll back and up. Back and up. Use the hold on the leg for balance. I'm going to try for a pistol squat here. Right foot is to the ground, left leg is out. Come to standing. Grabbing hold of the toe makes it a lot easier to come to standing. Lower back down. Switch legs. Hold onto your left leg. Roll back and forth. And you can always stay with this if you don't want to try the pistol squat. But when you're ready, left foot to the ground. Reach for your right foot. Come up to standing, pressing into the left heel. Left arm for a balance. I like to have my arm straight up. Lower to the ground. Back to our Navasana. Again, option to open the legs. Feet cross. Roll onto the knees. coming to our tabletop position. Get comfortable in your tabletop, flat back. Inhale, stomach drops, look forward. Exhale, round the back, look to the thighs. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, look to the thighs. Working into the shoulders, into the back, the front of the hips, back and forth in our cat-cow. Moving with our breath. Reach your right hand forward, left leg back, bird dog. Bend into the knee and the elbow, 90-degree angle. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. This is a balance challenge, so feel into the midline of your body, moving back and forth from straight leg to bent leg. Option to reach back for your left foot. Chest opens, look forward, tiger pose. Release, arm and leg straight. Knee comes down, right arm comes up and through under the left armpit. Left hand up. Option to grab a bind. Moving it to the opposite hip. In your twist, you have the option to reach your left leg out straight. Use your forearm for balance. Use your core. The right foot pressing into the floor. Left leg down. Release the twist. Back to our tabletop. Shake it out. Roll out the shoulders, the hips. Take a moment here to get regrounded, knowing that we're going to move on to the other side. Flat back. Reach your left hand forward, right leg back. Bend into the elbow and knee. Straighten. Bend into the elbow and knee, making a 90-degree angle. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Again, move at your own pace. Right leg up, left hand back. Open the chest. Look forward. Tiger pose on our second side. Diagonal line across the back body. Right knee down, left hand under the right armpit. Twist. Right hand up, over to the left hip for a bind. Option to raise the right leg up again. Find your balance. Eyes soft or focused on something in front of you. Right knee down. Let's come back to our tabletop. Reach the hands forward. Puppy pose. Chest to the ground, or you can be on the forearms for more support. Hips over the knees. Look forward. Get yourself situated and roll the back forward to our seal pose. Hips towards the ground, elbows to the ground, hands underneath the shoulders, toes tucked. Your knees can be to the ground or lifted. Press to your plank. Inhale, bend the elbows lower. Exhale, press to your supported or straight leg plank. Inhale, lower. Exhale, push up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, push into the palms. Fingers are spread. Inhale, lower. Exhale, push. Straight line with the body, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Look to your knees. You can walk the feet in, lift your right leg up, roll out the ankle, three-legged dog, right knee forward to the outside of the right hand, lizard pose. You can bring your left knee to the ground if it's more supported. Gently releasing it to the ground with the toes tucked, or keep it straight. Right hand to the head, open the shoulder up, close the shoulder down, open the elbow to the sky, lower the elbow towards the ground, opening and closing our chest, twisting the spine, pressing into the left hand. Gaze follows our elbow up and down. Left knee to the ground. Option to grab hold of the left foot with the right hand. Stretching our thigh. Gaze is soft. Hands to the mat. Back to the inside of the right foot. Tuck your left toes. Hips back. Right foot up. Three-legged dog. You have an option to lift your left hand up in line with your leg. Feel the diagonal line through your body from your left foot to your right hand. Left hand down, right leg comes to the ground. Left foot up, reach the toes to the ceiling, three-legged dog. Left leg to the outside of the left hand. Your knee can be to the ground if it's more supported. Still getting a good stretch. Left hand to the back of the head, open the elbow up, close the elbow down, open, close, moving at your own pace. I was moving a bit quicker here, so don't feel the need to go this fast. Opening and closing the chest. Just twisting out the spine. Right knee down, left hand reaches back. Twisted lizard. Right hand still underneath the shoulder. Left hand down, straighten the right leg, left leg up, reaching it high. Option to tent the right fingertips, reach them back in line with the left leg, finding your balance. And left leg down. Back to our down dog. Look forward, bend into the knees, hop forward or step, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Roll up the spine. Standing, arms reach high. Side bend to the right. Arms up, side bend to the left. Working back and forth. Standing tall here. Palms up together, look, maybe slight back bend. Palms to heart center. Recenter yourself as we moved from the ground to standing here. Moving forward in our practice. Palms press into each other, reach the hands up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to your high plank. Knees to the ground or lifted. Chaturanga, elbows bend. Tops of the toes, straighten the arms. Your hips can be to the ground or lifted. Exhale, downward dog. Reach the right leg high. Step the right foot to the inside of the right hand. Look forward. Stand tall, high lunge. Twist to your right. Right arm up and back. Option to reach for the left leg. Arms back in line. Look forward. Open to your warrior two, left heel on the ground. Reverse warrior. Left hand to the left leg. Arms back in line. Point your toes to the left corners of your mat. Bend into your left knee. Option to lift your right toes. Your hips can be as low as you'd like. Stay supported in the knee and the heels. Back to your warrior two. Right toes face forward. Arms in line. Hands to the mat. Low lunge. You can take your normal vinyasa or you can keep your right leg lifted. Three-legged plank. Chaturanga the arms. Upward facing dog, tops of the toes. Downward facing dog or three-legged dog. It's all optional. Bring your right leg down. Left foot up. Reach the toes high. Exhale, step the left foot to the left hand. Inhale, rise, high lunge. Open your left hand back, right hand forward. Twisted lunge. You can bring your left hand to your right thigh if you want for the reverse. Open to your warrior two. Bend into your left knee. Reverse warrior. Right hand to the right thigh. Left hand reaches up and over. Back to our warrior two, arms in line. Skandasana, bend into the right knee. Option to lift your left toes and to lower the hips. I like to reach my hands forward for balance. And the left toes point forward. Warrior two. Hands come down. Again, keep the leg lifted if you want or lowered. Chaturanga the arms. Tops of the toes. Downward dog. If you're in your three-legged dog, reach the toes high and lower them to the ground. Walk the feet in, hands come back. Feet are mat width distance apart. Malasana, palms to touch. If you'd like the bind, reach the right hand out. Wrap around the knee. Left arm reaches for the right hand. Twisted here. Back to center. Open the left hand up. Behind. Taking a bind. Around the left knee. Reach the hands forward and we're gonna do like a squatted walk to the front of our mat, keeping our hips relatively low. Once you get to the top, start to work your way back, keeping the toes pointed out, back to the front. Go at your own pace. I feel this pretty heavily in the glutes, a lot of sensation. So just take your time. I know that it's kind of hard, but enjoy the feeling. Feel your muscles getting stronger. Back to our Malasana, hips sit down, feet in front. Optional boat pose. You can straighten the legs. Arms reach up, or they can be parallel to the ground. Ankles cross. Roll to the knees, tabletop, tuck the toes. I took a quick cow pose. You can also do cat pose, rounding the back. Come to the forearms. Crown shining down to the ground. We're in our dolphin pose here. I'm going to try forearm stand. You can also practice this by shifting weight forward, keeping both feet on the ground or one foot on the ground. Just feeling what it's like to have weight over your shoulders. I'm using my legs here to help me kick up. Just playing around. You can also be in downward facing dog if you are uncomfortable in the dolphin pose. It's exploring the different options. Once you've tried enough of these variations, or when you're done with the stretch, we'll come to the knees, sitting back on the heels. The toes can be tucked. Roll out the wrists. Catch your breath from any kicks that you were doing. Roll out the wrists, spine is tall. Just finding our focus. I know that trying new things can be distracting. Just come back to our center. Still rolling the wrists. Hands reach up and forward to our tabletop. Toes are tucked, hips back, downward facing dog. Right leg up. Steps forward to the right hand on the inside. Come to standing high lunge. Hold here. Right hand reaches back, left hand forward. Twist. Right hand can reach for the left leg. Opening further. Back to our twist. Back to center. Warrior 2, left heel down. Reverse warrior. Warrior 2. And we'll come to our Skandasana, bending into the left knee. Right toes point high, hips back, up to our warrior 2 and hands down. Step forward to your standing split. Your standing leg is the right leg, left toes are up. Option to try for handstand, or you can just stay in your standing split, practicing jumps. You can be in your forward fold. I took a couple. Option to bring your left toe down, lift your chest halfway, looking forward, your back is flat. Left foot lifts, warrior 3. You can reach your hands forward, come back to your standing split. And step back to our lunge. Straighten in to your right leg. Knee bends. Low lunge here. Twist. Right arm reaches high. Option for horizon pose coming onto the sides of each foot. You can step back to your side plank, pressing into the side of the left foot. You can lift your right foot up and over for Wild Thing, opening your chest to the ceiling. Hands down, high plank. Bend into the elbows, upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale, left foot up. Step the left foot to the left hand. We'll rise up, look forward, high lunge. And option to find your twist, reaching the left hand back, right hand forward. Maybe you touch the left hand to the right leg. Deeper into the twist. Back to center, warrior 2. Left leg is bent. Send the right hand back to the right leg. Peaceful warrior, back to warrior 2. Straighten into the left leg. Bend into the right leg, left toes lift, Skandasana. Your hips can be as low as you like. We're going to move forward, back to our warrior 2, and hands come down, weight into the left foot, standing split. You can walk the hands forward for more balance. Bring the right toe down and use the kick up to find handstand. All optional, just playing around here. It's all practice. Right toes down, lift the chest halfway, looking straight down at the ground. Right leg lifts, warrior 3. You can reach your hands forward and hands down, back to our standing split. Right foot back. Straighten into the left leg, pyramid pose. Our hips are in line. Bend into the left leg. Reach your left arm up. Option to come onto the sides of the feet for horizon pose. Integrity in the core. You can step back to your Vasisthasana, side plank. Option to lift the left leg and step it behind you for Wild Thing. You can reach for the knee, you don't have to. Hands to the mat, high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here. Neck is in line with our hands. Shift forward to our hovering tabletop. Knees slightly above the ground, toes are tucked. And to our dolphin pose, forearms to the ground. Back to our hovering tabletop. Kick your right leg through the left. Hovering tabletop. Forearms. Hovering tabletop. Kick to the right. Hovering tabletop. Down to our forearms. Hovering tabletop. Kick over to the left. Hovering tabletop. Forearms. Hovering tabletop. Kick over to the right. We're going to continue with this. Back to our hovering tabletop. Forearms. Hovering tabletop. Kick over to the left. I like to lift my arm up. It can also come to your head, keeping your shoulders open. Back to dolphin, hovering tabletop, kick over to the right. Back to our hovering tabletop. Hold here. Step back to your plank. Spine is long. Back to our hovering tabletop. Step out to your plank. Into your hovering tabletop. Out to your plank. Into your hovering tabletop. Out to your plank. Into your hovering tabletop. Out to your plank. Find your own rhythm. Find your breath. Plank. Hovering tabletop. And we'll walk the hands back. Sitting down on the glutes, finding our seated malasana. Arms are in front of our shins. Prayer hands. Soften your gaze. Taking a moment to pause. Walk the feet out, mat width distance apart. Use your arms to sit up into malasana. Reach the arms high, and we come to a open hip position. Bend into the knees, sit the hips down. Come to standing. Sit the hips down. Come to standing. Knees are tracking over the toes here. I'm going to add in some side bends. Leaning over to the left. Coming back to center, leaning over to the right, back to center, over to the left, and we come to standing. Walk the feet in, they face forward, wide forward fold, grab opposite elbow, hang here. Option to shift your weight back and forth. Take a twist, reaching the left hand to the right foot. Right arm up and to the left hip for a bind. Chest comes to face the floor. Switch sides. Right hand to the left foot. Left hand reaches to the right hip. Back to center. And walk yourself forward into our downward dog. Send the hips back. Right leg lifts. Step the right foot to the inside of the right wrist, pressing into the right heel. We're going to shift our left heel to the ground. Open up to your warrior two. Left foot is pointing to the left. And reverse. Left hand to the left thigh, right hand reaches up and over. Extended side angle, right elbow to the right knee or right hand to the ground. Stay there or find a bind behind your back. up to our warrior two and reverse. Side bending. Straighten your right leg. Reach forward for triangle pose. Your hand can be on your shin or to the ground. Slight micro bend in the right knee. Left hand shining high. And walk your hands to the middle, wide-legged forward fold. You can bring your wrists in line with your ankles. And we lift our chest up and lower back down. Exhale. You can make a basket with your hands, pressing into the elbows, lifting the feet. Patient here with our headstand, our weight in our forearms. I like to bend my knees and open them for a bound angle pose, toes touching. Reach your legs out to bring them back to your wide position. And bend into the knees to come to a halfway lift. Exhale to the top of your mat, toes face forward. Bring the left knee down, straighten into the right leg for a half split. Work back and forth from your supported lunge to your half split, or bring your right foot forward, left knee back. I stay on my toes for the back foot because I feel supported in the knee. My splits here. Just going to take a moment. You can still be playing with the half split and the low lunge. And I press into the hands to bring the right leg back. Tabletop, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Left toes reach high, three-legged dog, and step the foot forward. Low lunge. Turning onto our right heel, warrior two. Reverse warrior, right hand to the right thigh. Back to our warrior and through to our extended side angle. Left hand comes down to either the knee or the floor. You can find a bind behind the back. Back to our warrior two and straighten into the left leg. Reach the hand forward, triangle pose. Again, your left hand can be to your shin or pressing into the ground. Bend into your left leg. Walk your hands to the middle, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bending into the knees as we lift, flat back, and lower the hands to the ground. You can bring the wrists in line with the ankles or play with your headstand, making a basket with the hands, pressing into the forearms. You can try just lifting the feet. You don't have to bring them straight above your head. It's all practice. I'm pointing my toes to the ceiling, bending my knees, palms of the feet touch, and I release to bring them straight out beside me, lowering the feet down so that the toes point in the same direction. Bend it to the knees, halfway lift, exhale, lower. Left hand comes to the middle of your chest and we reach the right hand up for a twist. Right hand down, middle of the chest, then we reach the left arm up. Getting in some more twists here. Hands down, switch arms. Right arm reaches up, left hand is pressing into the ground. Right hand down, left arm comes up. And hands down. Bring the heels towards each other, knees point out, goddess pose, palms to touch. prayer position. Straighten into the legs. Bend and send the hips back. Hands to the thighs. Twist over to your right, over to your left. Straight arms. Keep a firm press into the ground with your heels as we bend and straighten. And toes point forward. Step the knees out. Ankles are in line with the knees, but continue walking your knees out to where you feel a comfortable stretch and a hip opening. Our hands are still pressing into the ground. Just getting our ankles in line with our knees. I like to bring my forearms to the ground. There is weight in the lower half of my body, but my torso is supported by my forearms. Just relax here. Our toes are pointing out. Frog pose. I'll often shift weight back and forth. It creates sensation in the hamstrings. You can try it, but you want to move gently. Just hanging out in this pose. Shift your weight forward, bring your toes towards one another, and I like to walk back to my heels with my hands. Sitting up tall. Option to bring your knees forward and then feet out in front of you, or however you find a nice seated position with your legs out in front of you. Gently making your way to a forward fold. Inhaling to rise the chest and exhaling to bring the chest closer to your legs. I like to flex my feet, but it is up to you if you want to point them forward. Come back up and exhale to fold again. Maybe you're able to go a little bit deeper when you fold a second time. Come up to seated. Palms of the feet touch, hands to touch. Gaze is soft. I'm going to bring my right ankle to my right glute, back to the palms of the feet to touch, left ankle over to the left glute. A little bit of mobility, stretching here. Right ankle to the right glute, back to palms to touch, and left ankle to the left glute. Staying tall, right ankle to the right glute, back to center, left ankle to the left glute, back to center, right ankle to the right glute, left foot moves closer to the right knee, mermaid pose, side stretch over to the right, right hand comes down, left hand up, and switch sides. Left hand down, right hand up, moving your way back and forth, rainbowing the arms. Notice how this change in position feels. Back to center, palms of the feet to touch. Left ankle to the left glute, right foot comes closer to the left knee. Mermaid pose, side bend over to the left, up and over to the right. Over to the left and over to the right. Legs out in front of you, forward fold. Let that stretch go. And we'll bring the ankles over the hips. Toes flex, they point to the back of the room. Palms are to your side. I like to close my eyes in this position, letting my lower back press into the ground. We're starting to slow down as we are here in our legs up the wall pose. Bring the ankles down, sit back up to your staff pose, fold over the legs, completing a rollover. Sit back up, ankles come over the hips, legs up the wall pose, ankles lower back to the ground, we sit up and fold over the legs. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale up, exhale, ankles over the glutes. And if one of these poses feels better than the other, you can stay there. Back to our forward fold. Inhale up, exhale down to the mat. You can come into a plow pose, sending the feet behind your head. Hips are over the shoulders. You can interlace your hands or keep them touching the ground. Lower your hips to the ground, legs up the wall, and come to your forward fold. So we're moving back and forth from a forward fold to a plow pose if you want to do that. Hips changing positions. Plow pose. Roll to the low back. Legs up the wall pose. And forward fold. Ankles to the ground. Inhale up. Legs up the wall. To our plow pose. I'm going to bring my hands to my low back. Biceps pressing into the ground, bring the feet up. In my shoulder stand, I like to split the legs, keeping my hips above my shoulders. And I just move in a couple different directions here in the shoulder stand, opening and closing the legs. Notice what's supported in your body. I like to bring the palms of the feet together and split them out. Ankles back to the middle. Bring the feet down behind your head. Release the hands. Just hanging out in our plow pose for a moment. Roll the back down. Ankles over the hips. Back to our legs up the wall pose. Hold here a moment. We'll start to bend into the left leg, bringing the palm of the foot to the ground, stretching our right leg above us. You can hang onto the thigh or the calf, ankle or toes. Keep your knee in line with your hip. We want to stay in the middle of our mat here. And right ankle to above the left knee, figure 4 pose. You can keep your left foot on the ground or grab hold of your shin. Just getting comfortable here to stretch our glute. And we'll release the left foot down. Let your right foot come to the left side of the mat, twisting the body. Both shoulders are in contact with the ground. I like to stretch my right leg out straight, grabbing hold of it with the left hand, and then my bent left leg I'll grab with my right hand, making a zigzag shape on the floor. And I'll release, bending into the right leg. I still have a hold of both feet, coming to a supine lotus position. Hold here, and then we'll move on to our next leg. Right palm of the foot to the ground, left leg straight. You can grab hold of your thigh, calf, ankle, or toe. Stretching into our left leg. Side of the left foot comes above the right knee. You can keep the right foot on the ground or grab the shin. Figure 4, also known as Supta Ekapada Rajakapatasana. It's a mouthful, but supine pigeon pose. Releasing here. Stretching into the glute. Right foot to the ground. Left foot twists over to the right. Arms are in a T. You can stay here, or you could have stayed in your figure 4 pose. I'm going to stretch my left leg, grabbing it with my right hand, grabbing hold of the right foot with the left hand. Zigzag shape on the floor. And bending into the left leg, hanging on to it still. Supine lotus position. Bring your knees to your chest. Right knee comes above the left knee, making a twist with the legs. Before you send the knees over to the left, I like to tap the toes to the midline of the mat and then send them over. You could do either. Twisting into the spine. Maybe you look over to the right and knees back to center. Left knee comes over the right. You can bring your toes to the midline of the mat and then release them over to the right. Or if you feel more comfortable releasing them over to the right when the legs are up, you can do that too. Look to the left hand. Knees back to center. Touch the ankles. Press into the heels to come up to bridge pose. You can stay in your bridge pose, or if you feel comfortable, hands come to either side of the head, fingertips face the heels, and we press up into our back bend. Option to lift one leg at a time. Feels comfortable. Bring your head down to the mat. Roll your head down to your back. Release your legs. Knees into the chest. Bring your hands to the sides of your feet. Happy baby pose. Knees are open, feet are flexed, winding down. You can rock back and forth. Knees into the chest, lift the shoulders. Exhale to your Shavasana. Arms and legs in an X shape on the ground. Let your breath slow. Your body releasing to the ground. taking this time to quiet the mind, knowing that for now it is over and we can begin anew. Shavasana, also known as corpse pose, gives us an end to the beginning that we started. Taking the next 4 minutes to still the mind and body.
Sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of perverted sorrow.
All the centuries are beyond repair,
When you're ready, roll to one side of your body, bringing the head to the forearm, knees bend to a fetal position, keeping our gaze soft. Press up to a seated position, wherever you're most comfortable. Take a moment to inhale and exhale to let it go. Arms reach up, palms touch, hands to heart center to seal the practice with a gratitude, knowing I'm thankful for you.